the night before, she contacted me in the morning. The night before, there was a school shooting down somewhere like in Oklahoma or somewhere out that way. And I had to like talk myself down. I'm like, it happens, but you're fine. Don't worry about it. And I was getting ready to go to school. So she reaches out to me and asks if I'm okay. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Thinking that she's talking, was I emotional over the news of that one place? And she had said that the school I worked at, now this was only 6 days into my career at that school. And it was a college down in Tennessee. It was the fifth day after I left. It was within 200 feet of where I was. 20 minutes after I left, there was a murder from a student that attended that school. So I received an email today. During class, we kind of went on a soft lockdown, and there was a child that they were worried about, and I had passed one who looked just like him. I looked him up, so I don't know the child, but I passed by this kid who has the same unique look, and he was calm, there was no problem. So I don't know if the kid went back to class or what was going on, but I get ready to go to bed, and I get this notification that there's a threat against our school earlier today. And so I also want to talk about de-escalation, also gun safety. Gun safety is extremely important. Sometimes even people who are allowed to carry a gun sometimes leave it where it shouldn't be. It needs to be locked up. I know my daughter had a gun down her throat before when she was only, I don't even know, 12, 14, 16 months old. And it was left on a small table. So the person was registered to carry it, but it wasn't locked up. They were relying on the safety of the gun. But, sometimes, when you have a child around, that extra precautions need to happen. And sometimes we don't always know when an extra child is going to come over. So, as a mother, I've seen that. As a person, I've had a gun pointed to my head before. And, luckily I was able to de-escalate that. But, the threats, the mental health, the way we handle people. I know with this YouTube channel that I have, there's a lot of, just discard the person or don't reply to them or ghost them. But I think at least an initial acknowledgement, because some people lose their cool. I also have a murder trial of a friend of mine. She was murdered, and that's coming up. I'm going to try to get down there. It's in a different state. I believe that I'll be able to attend. I'm hoping that I can. Feel free to say hi to me, guys, so I know that you're here. But, as a teacher, we're losing teachers like crazy. Luckily, there are safety matters put into place. We have metal detectors at my school. There is also where they go through the backpacks, they confiscate things. But I also look at the changes in behavior of the kids. I've been teaching, about 20 years. I've taught everything from pre-K 3 up through college level. And I, I'm worried about our youth. It is interesting, and I want to do more research on this because I teach English as a second language, and I do see cultural differences on behaviors. And I feel very blessed with the families that I have, that the kids are pretty respectful, or they're able to not escalate situations that I believe some of that was either their upbringing or the schooling that they had before. But this is not the first time I've been on lockdown. This is not the first time there's been threats. Like I said, there was a murder on campus right after I started at that school. Now, I ended up quitting at that school. I didn't feel safe. But it's also in my mind, there was one year where I hit 4 deer. My first reaction was like freaking out. Second time I hit a deer, it was like, dang it. Third time I was like, oh, here we go again. Fourth time, you're like, well, and it totaled out my van. That we start becoming numb to certain things, certain traumas that we have, and we still have to be prepared. And we have to be on the lookout that, you know, schools need to be a safe place for our kids. And, as a request tonight, if you guys own a gun, I'm not asking you to get rid of them, but to make sure they're locked up. Um, the incident with my daughter, I wish that gun was locked up. She's alive, she's fine, she didn't get hurt. Um, you know, uh, know who you're dealing with. Are you dealing with stable people who have possibly access to guns? Um, I think with the murder, I believe alcohol was involved. I'll go to the trial, find out more about that. But it's unsettling to get an email to say that we had a threat against our school. There's a lot of things that aren't told. I know when I went to Wayne State University, I had a friend who was a police officer, public safety on duty, and I knew the inside scoop of some of the crimes that happen. It was interesting on some of the crimes, what is told to us, what is not told to us, the information that we have, that some of it is siphoned out. They don't want mass hysteria. They don't want people freaking out. They don't want to escalate the things. There was some stuff going around on the internet about this, so I don't want to add to the hype, but I am asking people, please lock your guns up. Keep them in a safe. I believe, I don't have a gun, so I don't know the gun safety laws or rules, whatever they're called, but I believe you're supposed to store it without bullets in it. You know, it's sad, some of the traumas that the kids have gone through, drive-by shootings or family members being killed or them feeling responsible to keep the family safe. And with all this heightened energy, there's a break, and it causes brain damage to people. When your cortisol, your stress level is up, or you react through adrenaline, you're not necessarily making the best decisions. And bullying is real, but we got to find a balance between like coddling our kids sometimes. Sometimes they get coddled too much to where they're not tough enough. And it's nice having a sweet, gentle heart. But sometimes, I was brought up pretty naive, and I know my parents did it for my safety, but sometimes, as an adult, I have to know how to react. I'm very book smart. I am not very street smart. And I've been learning on picking up clues. Also affects, things that I do. Do I venture out, or am I on the cautious side? So I'm missing out on living part of my life. So feel free to ask anything. I'm going to talk to you guys, say hello, but it's real. And I just see how many times we have had fights, how many times, or different schools. Like I said, on Monday, a kid brought a loaded gun to school when I was down in Florida. There was a child who had a gun in his backpack, and his friend brought the bullets. Luckily, they were confiscated, but it's real. It is real, and I am living it. So to my friends and family, I love you. Um, I want to spend more time with people. It makes you realize just how important each and every one of us that are important. I talked about that jar yesterday where the professor put golf balls into it and said, "Is this full?" And then everybody said yes. And then he adds dirt and he goes, "Is it full now?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah." And then he's like, "Oh, how about some sand?" And he fills it and talks about the things that are important to us. You know, we get so wrapped up in work, emotions. I know I had a difficult time as I was raising my daughter, the financial pressures, the stress of, going through custody battles and all that kind of stuff, and trying to maintain some sanity through all of it, trying to be available to people, but also trying to take care of yourself, that, um, there's sometimes breaking points, and our kids go through that too, to where, you know, we have to look for the warning signs, and we have to realize, to be proactive, whether it's getting them into counseling or sometimes just talking to them or listening. Maybe they do need to change schools. We have school of choice now. There are also religious schools, but school safety is important. And, um, you know, I'm pretty happy with the school that I'm at, but there's still high trauma responses sometimes. It's like an energy level. People feed off of each other's energies, and the stronger energy usually wins. So, if we can de-escalate, I saw a video of this guy. Now, I wanted to share it, but his language was not too good, so I did not share it. But he had a good point. Like, if somebody comes up to you, is talking about being at the bar, and somebody comes up and starts wanting to fight with you, it's like, what's your problem? What's your problem? And he said, well, you just tell him, oh, my husband died and this and that, and give them some sob story to where it like throws a person off, or they start feeling sorry for you, or they're just discombobulated. So it kind of doesn't escalate it, it turns it. What was the other example? Where it's like a guy girl thing where it's like, what, you looking at my woman? You looking at my woman? And he's like, yeah, is her name Madeline? Because she looks like Madeline. And the guy was like, no. And it just kind of changes, like, oh, because the guy starts saying, oh, it looked like somebody that I knew. You're lucky to have her, or something like that. So it calms the guy down that I understand you're together. I'm not trying to hit on her. But how do we handle these school situations? So please give your kids a hug, talk to them, ask what's going on, listen to them, and we can all be proactive. They had that one shooting where the parents, their names are slipping my mind right now, but the Oxford shooting, I'm in Michigan. That was pretty somewhat close to where I grew up. And the parents got sentenced for that. You know, sometimes we want to give our kids things that we think they would like. There's got to be a time and a place. There was warning signs. How do you guys feel about the parents being convicted on that? You know, there is responsibility of the parent, but also where do we break to where it's now the child's responsibility? Because I know there's times you think your kid's going to school and your kid skips school, so you did everything right, but there's only so much you can do too. So it has to start young. It has to start young, but it's never too late to start. So feel free to say hi, guys. And I would like to make sure that I have good reception, so it does help when you guys interact, and just say hello so I know who's here. But I want to let each and every one of you know just how special you are, and I appreciate your love and support. We never know when our last day is going to be, and I've escaped several situations that involve some sticky things, but you know, as a village, we can notify people to be aware of certain things. I believe that thing, there's a rumor it was due to like gang initiation. I don't know if there was some type of incident that was supposed to happen, but luckily it was are running rampant. We also have kids who just want to start mini gangs just to be cool, just to be a part of something. So sometimes if we can be proactive, let them be a part of something, whether it's playing on the sports team or dance class or whatever activities. Feel free to fill in some activities that would be good for kids to be occupied. And, if you can have one person, just one person who is there for you, it can make a difference. We all need just one person who believes in us to encourage us, to love us. And sorry if this is a slow connection. Let me know if you guys are getting a choppy reception. I just moved out here. I'm still in the process of moving. So I don't know if I need a new phone just so I can have good reception. I want to be there for you guys. But soon I will add on internet, and I've never really utilized Wi-Fi calling. I kind of use the data. So do you guys have luck with that? Because I was at my parents' house for a long time and I enabled the Wi-Fi and it did not seem to help, but they were in the middle of nowhere. So sometimes, even if you have Wi-Fi, I don't know, it has something to do with the towers. Maybe I gotta check on that too. I can't remember. I helped my dad and grandpa out when they were passing away, so I think I put my towers out there instead of the other side of the state. But it's good to have you guys watching. I just am a little unsettled that there was a threat today. And, we still got to show up to work and we still got to be strong and, have faith that um, it'll be okay. Uh, but it's on the rise. And access to guns, I'm not saying get rid of your guns, just make sure they're taken care of. So if you have children, they cannot get to it. I've had friends who own guns and they just put them up. They can be accessed. And, that's what happened with that Oxford shooting. They like gave it, but they put it away. But um, it's scary because of all the times that it's come close. Sometimes people just want to show off, or they want to be prepared. I'm sure there's kids who are scared to go to school, that they're being bullied, so they want protection. But there's mistakes that can happen. It's not legal for them to do that. And usually there are warning signs, usually. But we can't always be in the high stress times, so we might think that everything's fine if our child just goes and plays video games in their room. Maybe we don't know something's wrong. So it's good to connect. It's hard when you have teenagers, but I just see the mental illness on the rise. And I see when you try to talk to people, try to give them the insight that they still want to be right. They don't want to absorb it. Usually, when you either have a mental illness or anxiety or some kind of stressors, we don't always absorb what people mean. That I know there's good advice out there, but people have their perceptions. Their perceptions are based on whether it's their childhood or their experiences. And like I said, with the deer, just that deer example, how over time you become accustomed. Because I freaked out the first time, and the second time it's like, here we go again. Ay, ay, ay. And I was broken into before. They torched my car. They put my roommate's cat into that car and torched it. And the cops weren't believing that it was not an insurance scam. Eventually, they realized it was a legitimate break-in, and they stole the car, they torched it. Just the day before, I had gotten new tires and brakes. So for me to have PLPD, personal liability, personal damage, I got $500 back. So after investing in the tires, and they figured, okay, this is not an insurance scam, but I was just thankful my roommate was alive. Um, Something too that's interesting is I wasn't feeling too good out. I almost went to the emergency room this weekend. I was in pretty severe pain, and I was thinking about the pain level. How do we assess pain? When you go to the doctors, they're talking about on a level of 1 to 10. How bad is it? And I was at a level 8. So some people, you get a little paper cut, that could be your level 8. That might be a level 8 for you. I've had broken bones completely separated, and I didn't have a doctor want to do x-rays on me because I was joking around with my friend. I knew my leg was broken, and I'm telling the doctor, I think my foot is broken. In my foot, this bone, think of these as toes, but this whole bone here completely separated, and there's like crushed bones and everything. But I wasn't crying. I was laughing with my friends. I just get used to the pain. I've had so many broken bones, several separated completely. I'm also a burn victim. I've had stitches, I think 7 different times and different surgeries. So our pain level, I am wondering, does my pain level go to when I was on fire? And over time, you become accustomed to it, because when I had that foot surgery, the one where the bone broke, they had to put from here in, and then from here, I think this is my big toe, and across here. So I had 2 pins put in to put that back. The entire time it was severe pain. Usually when you have a broken bone, as soon as you get that cast on, about 80% of the pain is gone. It's almost like a miracle. You can hurt and hurt and hurt, and once you get that cast on, it's such a relief. But that surgery hurt the entire time. It was excruciating. But perception, also what we're used to. And I'd love it if you guys would say hi to me. I know I have a slow connection, so I just want to make sure that I'm live and you guys can see me. Still testing out this situation here. It says slow connection, so I'm not sure if you guys are saying anything, but lots of love to you. I'm sure you are. Hit that like button. I should be able to see that. I'm also wondering too if there's something wrong with my phone. I tried doing some cool little videos. I got some cool background videos that I was going to edit, and I'm having problems loading up my software. I haven't brought my computer here yet, so I guess in a way that's good. I also haven't brought my TV, and I can unpack, put my stuff away. I see you watching. I do see that there's people here, so thank you for your support. I know sometimes we just want to sit and watch, but I didn't like getting that message. School violence has to stop. And, there's been knives pulled, you know, um, even with police presence on board, that, how many square feet? The last 2 high schools was at, like 2 ago, was the largest high school I've ever been in. Um, it was blowing my mind. I grew up near Detroit, so I was in a suburb, but it was a large high school. I thought I came from a large high school till I saw these. I was like, holy smokes. Um, we have radio operators who are on it. I give them a lot of credit. I kind of wish they double their salary because I think they're earning it. But it's not stop. They are handling situations. We're trying different techniques. If you guys are teachers out there or know of some teachers, feel free to let me know some of the safety precautions you guys have put into place, because, I am a trauma certified coach. I've been through training champs, which helps, de-escalate, keep people on track. But there are some kids that when you try to get through to them, you can't. You can't give up on them either. But, and there was one instance where there was a fight between 2 kids, and I was able to stop it. But thinking back, the energy was directed at the other kid. So I handled it the right way, but if I handled it the wrong way, the energy could have gone onto me. Also reminds me of like my daughter's dog and her boyfriend's dog got into a terrible fight. And not to traumatize anyone, let's just say it was above and beyond the worst dog fight I could ever imagine. So I know there's probably been worse ones, but my idea of a dog fight was nowhere near what this was. It was a pit bull and a Doberman, and it took me 9 hours to clean up the blood. That's how bad it was. But everything I tried to do to break up this fight, I am so lucky the energy didn't turn on to me, especially with that pit bull lockjaw. That I've escaped some things. That was an interesting time when the dogs just started attacking each other. It was a very good day for me. I was, up and at 'em, and I even made myself a brand new outfit. I was all excited to wear this new outfit I just sewed. And I took a shower. It was a beautiful day out. My hormones were in check, so it wasn't like I had some hormonal thing going on that they're vibing off of. And the only thing I can think of is there was a trash bag that was taken out of the can and put by the refrigerator to take out. And I sat down to do my sewing, and all of a sudden that fight, because I had a sewing business at the time, so I had my outfit on, I went to work, and within 2 minutes that fight broke out. And were they fighting over that food, or just, I don't even know what happened. Sometimes just a look that somebody gives. I had mentioned before that I worked at this one place, and I was like, "Oh, you're so cute," and I touched this guy. Just shouldn't touch people. I was wrong in that, but it wasn't meant anyway. We were always like fighting back, like the playful banter, but I thought it was like a connection, like a friendship. It was nothing sexual. It was just a tap on the shoulder, cheek, really soft. He took me down, smashed my face into the ground, and I was like, holy smoke. So sometimes just, I guess his mom used to smack him in the face. I didn't know that. So sometimes we don't even know what the trigger is. Because you would think of any other friend I could do that. I'm like, just stop. Or they do it back to me. Um, it definitely wasn't a threat, but people get triggered on certain things. And that's where it gets scary is sometimes we don't know what we're handling. So if you have a child that is going through something, sometimes we have to notify people, um, or ask for help, suggestions. Doesn't mean that you're a bad parent. Sometimes it's kids at school, or sometimes it's stressors. If you broke up a relationship, or moved, or just life happened. It's not always the parents' fault. Maybe something happened at church or at the scouts meetings, or maybe the kid feels left out. They want a video game controller and they don't have the money, and you told them they can't get a paper route. So they're upset and traumatized by it because now they feel nobody's going to want them. So we had to understand the human brain. I've done a lot of research on the way that you handle kids in school to keep them motivated isn't always praise. Sometimes, and they also tell you too, like, don't tell people what your goals are, because you get a dopamine hit over them praising you. That it's almost like, okay, I don't have to do it anymore. I already got my fix. Um, so I just wanted to say that life is short, and to my family and friends, I love you more than you know. I'm going to keep chugging along, keep teaching these kids, but say some prayers for the teachers out there and also the students. Thanks for joining, guys.